Hi, my name is Nur Aladayana Sofia and I will be presenting my e-resume website. I will explain the coding structure of my e-resume. First, the document starts with stock type and HTML tag, which define it as an HTML5 document and set language to English. Inside the head section, I added UTF-8 encoding and a viewport meta tag for responsiveness. I also included the page title, e-resume, and linked an external CSS file, which is style.css for styling. In the body section, I create the header containing the logo, navigation menu, and contact button. The logo is linked to the student information page. The navigation bar allows user to access form, about, education, skills, experience, curriculum, and gallery pages. A contact me button is also included. The home section introduces myself as Alia Dayana, an information management student with interest in technology and web development. It includes two buttons linking to about and contact pages. A professional image is displayed on the right side for a more personal appearance. A video section is included using the video element with controls for self-introduction. The footer contains font awesome social media icons, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, with each opening in a new tab. A copyright statement is included. Now, I will explain the CSS used for my e-resume website. First, the universal selector reset margin, padding, box sizing, font, and remove default style for consistency. The header is fixed at the top with full width, padding, dark brown background, and flexbox layout. It stays above other content using Z-index. The logo has hover effects like color change, glow, and scaling. The span tag highlights important tags in pale violet red. Navigation links are styled in white with space and turn green on hover or active state. The Contact Me button has a white background, rounded corners, and green hover effect with glow. The home section uses flexbox, full screen height, and a light grey background. Tag size are styled for hierarchy. Buttons are styled in pink and green with hover animation. The profile image is circular with a green shadow. The video is centered using flexbox with border, shadow, and rounded corners. Scroll bar is customized with green thumbs and dark brown track. Footer match header color with circular social icons that scale and move on hover. The About page starts with the header section, which is the same design as my other page. It includes my logo, navigation menu, and a Contact Me button. This consistency helps user navigate easily across all pages of the website. The main content is divided into two columns to make the information more organized and easier to read. On the left side, I display my professional profile picture followed by an About Me section. In this section, I introduce myself by sharing my educational background, where I was born and raised, and my current study at UiTM Puncak Perdana, also my interest in information system, technology, and digital innovation. I also describe my leadership and volunteer experiences. In addition, I highlight my technical skills including HTML, CSS, Canva, and productivity tools, as well as my basic proficiency in Mandarin. On the right side, I present my personal information in a structured format. This includes my full name, age, contact detail, address, key skill, and career objective. Each section is accompanied by an icon to improve the visual appearance and make the information easier to identify. Below my personal information, I embedded a Google Maps frame that shows the location of UiTM Puncak Perdana. Finally, at the bottom of the page, I include a footer with link to my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn account. These social media links allow visitors to connect with me easily. I also added a copyright statement to indicate ownership of the website, same as the before page. Now, the CSS code for my About page. First, I use the universal selector to reset all default browser styling. I remove margin and padding, set the box sizing to border box, apply the pop-in font, and remove default text decoration and live list styles. This helps ensure a consistent design across the entire page. Next is the header section. I style the header as a fixed navigation bar, so it stays at the top of the page even when it scrolls. For the logo, I add a hover effect where the logo changes, and the navigation bar link are styled with white text and spacing between each link. The Contact Me button is designed with padding, rounded corner, and a white background. For the scroll bar, I customize it by changing the thumb color to green and the track color to brown. Next is the body background. I use a background image of matcha and set it to cover the entire screen to create a more aesthetic and visually appealing design. The main layout is the portfolio container, where I use flexbox to create a two-column structure. The left column contains my profile image and biography. The right column displays my personal information. Each section is arranged using flag alignment and icon I use to represent each category such as name, contact, address, skill, and objective. The objective tag is styled in italic to differentiate it from the rest of the content. For the Google Maps section, I create a container with padding, rounded corner, and shadow effect. The map is embedded using an iframe, allowing user to view UI temperature Perdana's location directly on the page. Finally, the footer section used a dark brown background to maintain consistency with the header. Now, I will explain the education page of my e-resume website. First, the page starts with the header section, which is the same design as my other page. The main content of this page is divided into two sections, which are the left side and the right side layout. On the left side, I created the education section header, which include the title Education and a subtitle called Academic Background. I use a span element to highlight part of the text for better visual emphasis. Below the header, I designed a timeline structure to display my educational journey in chronological order. The first timeline shows my current study at University Technology Mara UiTM. The second item shows my matriculation studies at Kedah Matriculation College, and the third item represents my secondary school education at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Seri Kundang, and lastly, the fourth item shows my primary school education at Sekolah Kebangsaan Seri Kundang. This timeline helps present my academic background in a clear and organized way. On the right side, I include a circular profile image which represents my graduation photo. Finally, the page ends with a footer section which is consistent with the other page of my website. The CSS code used for my education page, the header section which is the same as my other page to maintain consistency throughout the website. It is styled as a fixed navigation bar, also the logo, navigation bar link, and the contact me button. Next is the education section layout, where I use Flexbox to divide the page into two main parts, the left and right column. The left column contains the education header and timeline. I style the title Education in uppercase with a pink color to highlight it. The subtitle Academic Background is styled with a lighter font, and part of it is emphasized using a span element. For the timeline design, I use a vertical line on the left side to represent the progression of education. Each item includes a date, institution name, and qualification. For the current education level at UiTM, I use a different style with a pink highlight to show that it is the active stage. I also added hover effect on the timeline card where the content slightly moves and the shadow becomes more visible to create an interactive feel. On the right side, I placed a circular profile image inside a styled wrapper. I used border radius 50% to make it perfectly round, and I added a green border and shadow effect to make it stand out as a focal point of the page. At the bottom, I include the same footer section as the other page. Now, I will explain the skill page of my e-resume website. First, the page starts with the header section, which is the same design as my other page. The page used a main container layout to organize all the content into structured sections. Inside this container, I divided my skill into three main categories: technical skill, soft skill, and language skill. The first section is technical skill. In this section, I display my abilities in different tools and programming language such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Canva, and Microsoft Office. Each skill is shown using a progress bar where the percentage represents my proficiency level. The second section is soft skill. This part is presented using a list format with icon to make it more visually engaging. It includes important skills such as communication, leadership, teamwork, problem solving, and time management. These skills highlight my personal strength beyond technical knowledge. The third section is language skill. Similar to the technical skill section, I use progress bar to show my proficiency in different language. The page ends with the footer section, which is consistent with the other page of my website. I also will explain the CSS code using for my skill page. The header section, which is the same design as the other page to maintain consistency throughout the website, follow the logo, navigation bar link, contact me button, and scroll bar styling. For the main container, I use Flexbox to arrange all the skill cards in the center of the page with spacing between them. I also added a background image to make the page more visually appealing. Each card section represents a different category: technical skill, soft skill, and language skill. The cards have rounded corner, padding, and shadow effect to make them stand out from the background. Inside the technical skill section, I use progress bar to visually represent my proficiency level in different tool and programming language such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Canva, and Microsoft Office. In the soft skill section, I use a list format with icon. Each skill is displayed with an icon inside a circular background, making it more visually engaging and easy to read. In the language skill section, I also use progress bar to show my proficiency level in Bahasa Melayu, English, and Mandarin. This helps clearly represent my language abilities in a visual format. Finally, the footer section is consistent with the other pages. It contains social media icon with hover effect, where they scale and move upward. This makes the footer interactive and visual attractive. A copyright statement is also included at the bottom. Next is the experience page. First, the page starts with the header section, which is the same design as my other page. Next, the main content is placed inside the experience section, where I added a section title that displays experience and a subtitle my experience to introduce this page clearly. The content is then organized into a card layout inside a container. The first card is my role as a college representative secretariat under the Executive Committee of Entrepreneurship at UiTM Puncak Perdana. In this role, I was involved in managing sales operation and both logistics during the Hari Raya Koperasi Festival, which is FESCO. On the right side of the card, I included an image to visually represent my involvement in this position. The second card shows my experience as an event volunteer for KAKOM at Kedah Metropolitan College. In this role, I manage participant registration, coordination checks-in, distribution event kits, and ensure smooth food and beverage distribution for athletes and officials. Overall, the experience section is designed using a card-based layout to separate each role clearly. This makes the information easier to read and more visually organized. Finally, the page ends with a consistent footer section, which includes social media links to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, along with a copyright statement. The CSS code used for my experience page, same as before, my header section is consistent with all my other pages. Next is the body background, where I use an image called contact, JPEG, and set it to cover the entire screen. This helps create a more visually appealing and consistent theme. For the experience section container, I set a maximum width and centered it on the page. I also added padding, rounded corner, and pale violet red background to make the content stand out clearly from the background image. The section title includes a main heading and a subheading. The main title is styled with a larger font size and dark color, while the subtitle is lighter to create a clear hierarchy. The cards container use a column layout with spacing between each card. This allows each experience to be displayed separately in an organized way. Each card is designed using flexbox, dividing into two parts, content and image. Inside the card content, I style the job title, company information, date and job description. For the card image, I use the object fit cover to ensure the image fit properly without distortion. I also define specific size for better layout control. Finally, the footer section is consistent with the rest of the website. It contains social media icons with hover effects, where the icons scale and move upward when hovered. The footer also includes a copyright statement. We move to the core curricular page of my e-resume website. The main content starts with a section header, which introduces the page title, core curriculum, and a subtitle leadership, collaboration, and social impact. This gives users a clear idea of what this page is about. The content is then organized using a grid layout, where each activity is displayed inside a card format for better structure and readability. The first card shows my participant in the Interfaculty Games South Handball team. The second card highlights my involvement in co-curricular sport activity, which is rugby. The third card shows my participation in the annual Golden Night Showcase as a cultural performance, and the fourth card represents my achievement in the District Correct Speaking Champion. Each card includes an image to visually represent the activity and make the page more engaging and attractive. Finally, the page ends with the footer section, which is consistent with the rest of my website. Now, CSS code used for my co-curricular page. Header section, which consistent with all the other pages. The body background, where I set a light bluish color and ensure it covers the full page for a clean and simple design. The main content is inside the co-curricular section, which is centered on the page with proper spacing and padding. It has a maximum width to keep the content well organized and readable. At the top of the section, I added a section header with a main title and a subtitle. The title is large and bold, while the subtitle is smaller to provide a clear introduction to the page. The content is displayed using a grid layout without two columns. Each activity is displayed inside a card component. These cards have a white background, rounded corner, and shadow effect to make them stand out from the background. Inside each card, there is an image container and a content section. The card content includes the activity title and description. Start with proper spacing and line height for better readability. I also added hover effect on the card, where the card slightly move upward and the image zoom in. This creates a more interactive and modern user experience. Finally, the page ends up with the footer section, which is consistent across all pages. For gallery pages, it starts with a main container that holds all the content in an organized layout. Inside of this container, I added a header text section that introduced the page with the title Aesthetic Gallery and a subtitle My Portfolio Showcase. This gives user a clear understanding that this page displays visual highlights of my work and experience. Next, the main content is arranged using portfolio grid layout. Each item in the gallery is placed inside a card component. Every card contains an image and a title label underneath it, such as Image 1, Image 2, and so on. This helps organize the image clearly and make it easier for user to view each item separately. The images used in this gallery represent different moments from my personal and academic journey, including events, activities, and memorable experiences such as group program, graduation, and other campus life moments. For the CSS code, the main content is arranged using a CSS grid layout with 3 columns, which allow multiple images to be displayed neatly in rows. This makes the gallery look organized and responsive. Each card contains an image and a title label. The cards have rounded corner and shadow effect to make them stand out from the background. The images are styled using object fit cover, which ensures they fill the container properly without distortion. The card title is centered below each image with padding and a simple background to keep the design clean and consistent. Finally, the footer section is the same as the other pages. For my contact pages, the page contains a contact form section that allows visitors to send messages directly through the website. At the top of the section, I added a hidden title Contact Me, where the word Me is highlighted using a span element to make it more visual appealing. Inside the form, I create a multiple input field to collect user information. This includes full name, email address, phone number, and subject. I also added a text area where user can write their full message or inquiry. The form is designed using input boxes arranged in pairs, which help make the layout more organized and user-friendly. For the submission process, I added an onSubmit JavaScript function. When the user clicks the send message button, an alert message will appear saying that the message has been sent successfully. After that, the form will automatically reset, clearing all input fields. Additionally, I also included a separate JavaScript function called HunterMessage, which performs the same function by preventing the default from submission, showing a success message and resetting the form. However, in this code, the inline on submit event in the one being used. Finally, the page uses a style submit button that matches the overall design of the website, ensuring consistency with other sections. For CSS contact page, we use a global style reset to remove default browser spacing and set a consistent font which is popping. We have the header section. The header is fit at the top so it stays visible even when we scroll. The logo is styled to look more attractive. For the navigation bar, each link is styled with spacing and a hover effect. We also have a contact button that stands out with a white background. Moving on to the main section, the contact form uses a background image to make it more visually appealing. The form is centered and designed to be user-friendly. Input field and the text area are styled with padding round the corner and a soft background color to make them easy to use. The submit button is styled in pink, and when hovered, it changed to a lighter style for better interactivity. Finally, at the bottom, we have the footer section. It includes social media icon with hover, animation effect, navigation link, and a copyright section. For the last page, I will present the student information section for our eResume website. This page is created using HTML and CSS to display all personal and academic details in a structured format. At the top, we have a header section titled Student Information to clearly show the purpose of this page. Next, there is a profile picture section that displays the student's formal photo to make the page more professional. Below that, the page contains several information groups. Each section is divided into a label and a value to make the content easy to read. The information includes the title of the project, student name, student ID, group, course code, course name, faculty, program code, and submission date. At the bottom of the page, there is a back button that allows users to return to the main page, which improves navigation and user experience. Now, I will explain the design of the student information card using CSS. First, the background uses an image to make the page look more visually appealing, while the content is centered on the screen using flexbox. The main container is styled as a card with a white background, rounded corner, padding, and a shadow effect to create a clean and professional look. At the top of the card, we have a header section. It is arranged using flexbox to align the title and the profile photo side by side. The title is centered while the photo is displayed in a fixed box with proper sizing and cropping. Below that, each information section is arranged in rows using flags. The labels are placed on the left and the values are displayed on the right with an underlined style to make it look like a formal form. Each label uses a bold and clear font, while the values are styled more simply to maintain readability and structure. At the bottom, there is a back button that is styled as a rounded button. When hovered, it changes color to give better interaction experience. So that's all from me. Thank you.